Hey everyone, it's Ann again, and in this video I'm going to share with you my updated workflow for creating content for AnnSamoilov.com. Before I do that, I should let you know what and why I decided to change it in the first place. I think that first of all, when you're going into a new year or any kind of, you can do this any time of the year really, so even if you end up watching this later in the year, don't feel like you have to wait to the new year to then change your workflow and how you're working and the process you use. I just spent the last 2.5 weeks kind of off work, but really thinking about how I was doing things, what didn't feel right, what I wanted to change in the new year. And really that thinking process started way before November. I had spent the year struggling to create content. It felt like I was always behind the curve. I would get caught up for a couple months and then it would go kind of the other way where I would be constantly chasing. And that happened with guest posts, my own posts for my site, my podcast. It was like I was on this wheel that I kept kind of tripping over, this hamster wheel, and I just kept doing loop-de-loops with myself. So I knew that this was going to be one of the things that I wanted to change in 2015. So I came up with something that I decided to test. I started it in November and did my first really successful one in December because, you know, when you're first starting things, it doesn't exactly work as you think it should, or you can't really get it going as well as you would like to. But in December, it worked perfectly. So I am going to now, refine, and as I see fit, I will change things again. So really, honestly, the only reason why I wanted to change this isn't because I was somehow not creating what I wanted to create, but it's just because I was constantly stressed out. And it's like I was living paycheck to paycheck, but on my blog. Like I was just going blog posts and then post it instead of having time to flesh things out. And I know that from myself, that when I plan things out, give myself enough time, I can go through a much better process for creating. And for me, what I like to do is create like a big outline for what I'm going to write and then just kind of keep going back in, layering over it and having time to make, and then all of a sudden I have 4 blog posts done. So I knew that I wasn't giving my best because I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling great about the process. So I don't know if you felt that way. Have you felt that way? That you pretty much just create weekly and then hand it to someone to upload, or you're like uploading it the morning it's going live? That's me. That's me. I mean, even with someone working with you, and I know this was my case, I didn't want to hand someone a podcast the morning it was supposed to go live or the day before. I'm not that cruel. So yeah, get this up. I don't care what it takes. You're going to be up all night. You have a kid. Who cares? So I did it myself most of the time. Honestly, I can say that even during my launch, there were several podcasts that I uploaded myself. I had to do the whole process. I am still working on getting that right person who's going to produce my podcast and make that overall quality better. But right now I'm feeling okay. So I'm just going to kind of let that hang for a second. I'm not thinking about that hiring business just yet. So in order to get out of that week by week thing, which something that I slipped back into so many times in 2014. I would get ahead for a couple months and then I would be like, so you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so now what I'm doing is I'm picking in advance a week every single month, 1 week, where I do 4 weeks worth of content. So for instance, let's say I'm just doing a podcast, which is what I was doing for the last couple months. I was just doing podcasts only, no real standalone blog posts. What I would do and what I did was produce the 4 podcasts for the following month. So at the end of November, I did the ones for December into like a certain point in December. In December, I made it all the way through to this week. And so that'll be fine. So I'm doing them kind of like a month in advance, everything. But what that really means is I have to really use those weeks wisely. So, by the way, this is one of those weeks for me. This is one of those weeks where I am going to be spending my time creating that content, putting that content up, scheduling it, scheduling all the social media, doing any of the outreach I need to do to get people seeing it or knowing that it's coming. Like if it's a podcast interview, reaching out to those people and letting them know their date. So I just wanted to show you. So this is a cute little pocket. It's actually from Poquito. Oh, interesting. It's actually saying something else in the back. But if you go to Poketo.com, these are actually like long Post-it notes. Laura Roeder turned me onto this a long time ago, and I have, oh darn it, I'm gonna have to buy another one. I was always up two. I had like two just kind of hanging out. And I just put this down near my keyboard and we are all good to go. So here's how it works. Monday, I write. So that could mean a blog post. That could mean show notes so that I know what I'm going to be talking about, you know, so that I have something written for the actual podcast posts. Tuesday is generally my studio time when I'm going to be recording videos, recording interviews, whatnot. Wednesday, I format everything, get it up to WordPress. Thursday, I focus on the PR and social media for all posts. And I have some help creating some of that content. So generally what I'll do is if I have any of the additional social media that I'm having created and helping me out with that, I usually spend some time during the day and upload. So the process for the social is it's like a separate process in itself. But essentially what I do is I use CoSchedule in the blog to put out like the couple weeks worth of social media around a post or a podcast. And then I move it over to Edgar, which is meetedgar.com if you want to check that out. So I kind of try to choose the best performing stuff and put that into Edgar so that it will keep shooting it out over time, shooting those messages out over time. Then Friday, I kind of use that to wrap things up because generally, you know, something happened where I got lazy or whatever. But I like to keep Fridays open anyways because I do volunteering at my daughter's school. So Friday is just kind of like the wrap up. And that's it. 1 week per month. That's what I do. So what that allowed me to do really was take those 3 weeks off with my daughter in December, which was amazing. I did do some work. I don't want to say that I didn't, but I definitely wasn't stressed out or ever wondering, oh, do I have everything set? A few times I thought that, and then I looked and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm actually good. Okay, great. And to be honest, I always think it's funny when I say to be honest, because I'm always saying things honestly, but it's this funny little phrase that I hear other people saying too, and I do it. Anyways, don't get me started on funny little phrases. So, see, train of thought, gone. In theory, this allows me to just work 1 week a month and spend the rest of the time doing my higher level goals for the month and figuring out, you know, if I have a launch coming up, how do I want to handle that? What additional emails need to be going out? Like for instance, for me, all I was really doing last week was focused on, okay, when are some additional emails going out about these events? What videos am I going to shoot? Am I going to shoot them the day of? And you know what? With those, I did. This is being shot in the same day as those other videos. You saw me wearing the same shirt. I didn't bother changing my clothes because I'm like, you know what? I'm batching my work here, people. So I think that just start with finding a period of time where all you do is focus on the content you're going to create for your month. If you can do it in a week, dude, just think about it. Think about what would you do with that extra time. So if you create an outline of all the editorial content that you're going to, you know, an editorial calendar for the year, which I don't know if that's really realistic. For me, it's never is because I always change my mind about what I want to put up. But let's say you do. You can still do this. You can still do this. And if you don't have a podcast, you can still do this. You'll just spend Monday and Tuesday writing. and think about 2 posts a day, format them, get them up there, get the social done, wrap it up. All in 1 week. What would you do with 3 extra weeks a year? That's what I want to ask you. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you during the new year is because I want you to think about how you're working. Are you really like you're busy? Maybe you're busy. Maybe you're doing all this posting and all this social media and all of these, you're doing all these guest posts. But is it really feeling good? Because for me, it was not feeling good. I don't want to be busy. I want to be working hard at growing my business, but not doing busy work. Okay, so stop doing death to busy work and let me know what your work schedule is. Kind of create your content? Do you have more than one thing a week that goes live? Because maybe that brings in another kind of like bigger idea of how do you create multiple posts during a week. And are there things that you just leave to kind of the last minute and you're okay with it? It's really up to you. So leave a comment below. Let me know. And I'm eager to get you guys going. So I'm eager to see you take your own workflow, be really ruthless about it and say, you know what, you're getting your stuff done in a week. Because if you have just a week to get it done, you'll do it faster, you'll be happier, you'll have more brain space and time to think about what it is you're doing and how you're growing your business. Let's do this, people. Okay, have a great day and I will talk to you soon.